Hey, everybody, welcome back to the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by Deck Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. And for the first time in 4 weeks, I am happy to report that the Pittsburgh Steelers were victorious this time in week 5 over the Denver Broncos, 27-19.
Did that.
And joining me tonight, Ian and Ben has been absent. That stupid career he has, or whatever it is, been keeping him away from us. But he's back tonight for your pleasure and certainly ours, as I'm sure there will be numerous amounts of swearing and alcohol consumption and whatnot. But that's what we do. Ben has already featured 2 different beverages. Ben, what do you have tonight? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Uncle Nearest bourbon.
Okay.
Uncle Nearest was a black sharecropper who taught Jack Daniels how to make whiskey. And I am drinking and then the whiskey's named after him. And I'm drinking your favorite Jubal Ale.
Jubal Ale.
That's right, buddy.
You're getting in the holiday spirit a little soon there.
I was shocked. It's really good this year, though. You're gonna love it.
All right. And Ian, what are you enjoying tonight?
So I am, for the first time in 4 weeks, drinking my Terry Bradshaw bourbon because we actually won a game. By the way to bury the lead there. When you said the first time in 4 weeks, I was like, oh, he's gonna say Ben's back with us, but no, the Steelers are winning are way more important than Ben
also
being back with
first
us.
time.
For sure. For sure.
So,
yes.
Terry Bradshaw makes a damn good bourbon. Everyone should go.
He does, man.
He does.
Holy cow. There it is. I'm looking in my refrigerator down
here.
here.
And some damn good looking daughters, too. He makes some pretty daughters.
Yeah, he does.
I got to give him props.
I did hear tonight.
For being an ugly guy, he makes some really nice looking kids.
That's what us ugly guys do.
That's true. That's true. I mean, my kids don't get it from me.
Yeah, I also have cracked open the Bradshaw bourbon tonight, and I've got a Yingling here on the side as well. So, Terry was trending a little while ago. Apparently, not for real good reasons.
What happened?
He apparently had some words to say about Aaron Andrews' outfit during an interview or something.
Oh,
and
shit.
It didn't go over real well, but that's why I love Terry. He's what he is. Anyway, guys, hey, the Steelers looked a hell of a lot better on Sunday against Denver. And, I think there's something to be said for maybe Denver wasn't as good as their 3-1 record indicated. And maybe the Steelers were better than what they had shown in previous weeks. All I can tell you is that they got a win. They broke a 3-game losing streak, and they've gotten themselves back to 2-3, and could be in a decent position here to make up some ground over the next several weeks with a bye. Obviously, a trip to Cleveland, but then they have the Lions and the Bears, I think, back to back, and some winnable games there. So, pretty okay considering where things were and how banged up this team is right now. But Ben, what were your takeaways from the game on Sunday?
The offensive line, while still not what I would consider a good unit, played much better, much better. And they're playing better together, and I think that's the reason. As well, I think that Kevin Dotson was trying a little too hard to compensate for the guys on either side of him, the 2 rookies, and it seems like the last, I don't know, let's say 5 or 6 quarters of football he's played, he's just gone out and just played. But as a result, the line is playing better together. I still think Kendrick Green is still finding his legs. He's gone against a couple of really good lines the last couple of weeks. A very good nose tackle versus Green Bay. And, he's kind of gotten his ass kicked, to be honest. But I mean, everybody, even Chooks played better last week. He really did. I mean, he had a couple of false start penalties, which I was like, you fucking bonehead. But
considering who's across from him,
it was better. And Denver has a good D. They really do. Those linebackers are not great, but their defensive line and their DBs are good. And it was much better. The play calling was a little better. They're a little more creative. I thought that Ben got the ball out fast, but he's been doing that all year.
Right.
He played pretty well. He still looks mortal to me. You know, he's not Superman anymore, which, you know, that eventually happens. Father Time is undefeated.
Absolutely.
But I thought the offensive line was the big thing that jumped out to me. They played much, much better.
Yeah, I agree. I was surprised to see Chooks coming out of the tunnel. I thought they would stick with Haig for
Right?
just simply because they looked a little bit better against Green Bay running the ball.
They looked way better.
I thought, okay,
than they had the previous 2 weeks.
Right.
The previous 2 weeks they were awful.
You know, and as negative as we can be on coaching staff at times, I give them credit. They went back to Chooks, and it paid off. I mean, he played much better. Ian, what were your thoughts on Sunday?
Yeah, so I agree with Ben. I think one of the other things they did was they simplified things a little bit for the offensive line. There wasn't as many, plays where a bunch of linemen were all pulling around at once, right? It was more line up, block the guy in front of you and go, rather than, okay, I'm the left tackle on this play, but I have to pull around to the right side and be the lead blocker, or I have to, get out in space and block this defensive back, or, I'm the center and have to perform a reach block on a middle linebacker on an outside zone play. Like, it seemed like they simplified a lot more things. It was just like line up and beat the guy in front of you. And they did that a lot better. That definitely helped the running game. And I agree with everything Ben said. And defensively too, they really, really came up with some big plays to shut things down. I mean, in the first half, really, there were 2 big plays for Denver, and that was it. And the defense responded both times. There was the strip sack of Ben that Denver got the ball, and the defense forced a field goal. And there was the long run by Javonte Williams that, credit to James Pierre for running that guy down and preventing a touchdown. And then Williams being a moron and spiking the ball put them back at the 7-yard line. They wound up kicking a field goal again because Devin Bush got that sack right up the middle too.
Yep.
So, both times the defense got put in a bad situation and made plays to make them kick field goals to score touchdowns. And lo and behold, there's your 8-point victory right there. If they get those 2 touchdowns, that's 8 points, 8-point difference right there. So, the defense did what they needed to do, and you're not going to stop an NFL offense and keep them out of the end zone for 4 quarters of a game. So, I mean, I wasn't surprised in the second half, especially with, Devin Bush got dinged up again and was out of the game. And, injuries happen and, but credit to James Pierre too. I mean, playing cornerback, you have to have a short memory, and it seems like he has a very short memory that he doesn't get too down on himself. He made a big play in the first half, like I said, running down Williams to prevent a touchdown. He gave up a touchdown in the second half, but then he came back and basically ran the receiver's route for him on the last play of the game. He was like, you're not completing a pass against me. And, for being
and one-on-one singled up, that was the best he played the entire game. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. It was, he for being a undrafted free agent in his second year that didn't have a training camp his rookie year. I mean, I think there's something there. I'm not saying that, he's I still not sold that he's a starting every down caliber NFL cornerback. I mean, I think there's a big drop off from, Cam Sutton to James Pierre, but I think he, at this point in his career in year 2, he's serviceable and the arrow's pointing up for him.
Yeah. As far as Pierre goes, I agree. Everything, the short memory, making plays, the hustle play, which absolutely paid off at the end. For sure. Let me focus on the offense for a little bit. Ben, what did you pick up on in either the play calling or play design of what the Steelers were doing on Sunday? Because there was definitely a few things I noticed right away that they seemed to be doing a little bit differently.
Well, they executed a lot of RPOs, a shit ton of RPOs, especially in the second half. So that seems to be something they're going to go to when they have a lead, if I don't miss my guess. And they did more. They executed more motion, and they did so correctly, and then took advantage of what the defense showed them pre-snap and at the snap. So I don't think they did a lot of things differently. Honestly, I thought in particular in the run game, they just executed better. Because the execution has just been so poor all year long offensively. It's been shit. And we expected that coming out of the gate. We just didn't think it would last all of September.
Right.
And it did. And I think I don't want to use the term turning the corner, but they made some progress. And really, honestly, that's all I wanted to see. I just wanted to see incremental progress continually every single game. And if we get that, by the end of the year, this will be at least an average line. It'll be serviceable. And if they can get that far, they'll give themselves a chance.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I thought the motion was better. They had a lot of jet motion going on. I liked some of the shifting that was going on. They went to Zach Gentry a little bit, and I never would have thought I would be saying Zach Gentry. But he's turned
been
himself
way better.
He's turned himself into a really solid blocker.
Yeah. Okay. You're being.
I didn't say good. I didn't say great.
You said solid blocker.
I think
I'm not gonna call Zach Gentry a solid blocker. He's much improved. Hi, Maggie.
Hello, Maggie. Yeah, I think. Okay, fine. Much improved. He definitely is. He's
a legitimate NFL tight end now.
Yeah.
He's a legitimate NFL tight end now. And I'll be honest with you, when he got drafted, I was like, there's no way. That was a wasted draft pick. I cannot believe they burned a 5th round pick.
Oh, I still hate it.
Again on a player who's not going to amount to shit.
Yep. I still hate it.
You still hate the pick.
He's years later and he's contributing. But what
third year, he looks better, man.
He does.
I got to give him props. He does.
So what do you do? They got to make a decision on Zach Banner this week, and
he's coming in. No, they actually don't, Mark.
Oh, wasn't it the end? I thought this was the end of the third week.
No, they can go through the end of this week and then bring him back.
They can bring him back on Monday and then have him sit out the bye week, which that's my guess. That's what they're probably going to do.
Yeah, no, they're
going to bring him back on Monday and then have him sit out the bye. He wants to play. I mean, he's been public
McFarland
about
in the same situation.
No, he's got another week.
He's got extra week. Okay, I'm sorry. Go back to Banner. So where does Banner fit? It's a lovely model there.
There you go.
Thank you.
Honestly, I think you work him in slow. I think you use him in that extra tight end role originally, see where he's at, because I mean, we talked about this before, but he's only played less than a game, like a quarter and a half as a starting lineman. And I think also it kind of depends on how the running game goes against Seattle this week. If the running game continues to show improvement,
right,
and these guys are finally starting to gel together, then
you don't mess with it.
Don't mess with it, right?
Right.
Big time agree.
Don't fix it if it ain't broke.
What is Ben? What's your feeling on Dan Moore? I mean, he's a rookie. He's a 4th round guy. He's in a position that we did not see him. I mean, if you would have told us back at the draft that this guy would be starting week 1, we would have said you're full of shit. There's no way. But he is. It's up and down.
We would have said, if Dan Moore is our starter week 1, we're in trouble.
Huge.
And let's be honest. Dan Moore has been up and down. He has not been good. He hasn't been terrible. I think they kind of threw him to the wolves. He was described to me some time ago as an unrefined player with a very high ceiling, and I think that's accurate. That's the guy. He was not a finished product when he came out, and they kind of threw him in there before he had a chance to grow into the role, and that's my biggest gripe with him. I think long term he'll be fine. So far, he's been really bad except for this last week.
Yeah,
I guess he was much better this week, both in pass protection and especially in run block. And I was like, hey, whatever you need to do to be the guy to grow into that role, if this is the course you got to take now, you're our guy now because you're a Steeler. So
Yeah, for
do what
sure.
you got to do now. I wish they would have got another route. Honestly, if I would have had my druthers, they would have either paid a tackle or drafted a tackle.
Mhm,
Probably would have had to
mhm.
pay one.
Yeah.
But they didn't. It is what it is. These are our
Mhm.
guys now.
Mhm.
He's okay. If he can keep showing, like we talked about before, incremental progress,
Yep.
then fantastic.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with him. I think he's done terrific work for a young man in the position that he was put into. So you're right. Let's just see if that improvement continues to keep going. Ian, what was your overall take on Big Ben's performance? He's obviously the last few weeks he's been under a lot of fire from myself included. What did you think of? Well, Maggie clearly didn't care for it. What'd you think about Ben on Sunday?
Yeah, so the one thing that Margaret, you are okay. Okay, you can play with my headphones. The one thing, this is a family show. It's real life. The one thing they did really well offensively as a whole was picking up first downs on second down. Novel concept, right?
Right.
Like, hey, let's not even get to third down. Let's get the first down when it's only second down. So, they did a really good job of that. And I thought situationally, Maggie, you have my headphones, baby girl. I thought situationally they did things really well too. That they pushed the ball down the field
Right
when they needed to. They in some situations they camera got turned off.
Nope. Yeah, I'll let you take care of Maggie. Ben and I'll handle this one.
And I'll just say in some situations they maybe they pushed a little too far, right? Third and short, throwing it deep, but they scored a touchdown that way too. So
right.
when they have single coverage, sometimes you have to push it. I'm okay with doing that when you're at like the 50-yard line. I'm not okay with doing it when you're like on the fringe of field goal range at like the 35, 40-yard line. Like, just get the first down in those
situational awareness.
Yeah, but I felt like they did a much better job of that. And Ben's yards per attempt was like 10 this past week, which was like double what it had been the last few weeks. So he definitely used more of the field, and they got more yards after the catch too. Like Claypool's crossing route that he turned into a 50-yard gain. They got a lot more. So all right, with that, those are my thoughts. Go Steelers, and I'm going to go put this little girl to bed.
Ben, what did you see out of Big Ben this week?
He played better.
I thought so.
They let him use his head a little bit. I wish that they would let him audible a little more instead of saying, hey, this is the play. We're going to motion into it. Go with what you see. That's my only gripe with the offense right now is you got this guy who's played all these years. His greatest asset at this point is going to be his mind.
Mm-hmm.
Why not let him use it?
Yeah, it's beyond me why they're doing what they're doing with him in certain situations. It's just I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I thought the strip sack was unfortunate and on him to a degree, holding the ball as long as he did.
And it's not that he doesn't know the rush is coming.
Yeah,
it's that he can't move that fast anymore, and he really couldn't on Sunday.
And he's got, and the problem is he's still thinking like he's 25. I mean,
he can't move that quickly anymore in a short area, and on top of that, he's gimpy because he's injured. Which makes it even worse.
Yep. And he did go into the tent in the second half on Sunday as well. And I think they were just taking a look at the hip. I didn't get verification of that, but I think that's what it was.
Well, and he smacked his wrist on Chuk's helmet.
Yes, there was that too. I forgot about that. But the only other play he had the ball, the one where he scrambled and he threw it, and it easily should have been an interception. On that real short route, other than that, I thought he threw the ball pretty well. He had a couple little stretches there where he missed some receivers. But by and large, his receivers made plays for him, which I think only helps his confidence. Not that a guy of his age and stature needs confidence, but it's nice to know that when you zing it out there to Claypool, he's not just going to get tackled and go down. He's going to make extra yards. DJ did the same thing a couple of times. He hit. I loved the one call. I think it was a 2nd and long. We had just had a penalty, and they just ran a little angle route with Najee, and I think he picked up maybe 12 or 13 yards to get us in that short. Yeah, Najee. What did I say? Najee? Yeah, I got to make sure I'm saying that right. He doesn't like it. Najee. That was just an example of what I thought was pretty good play calling on Sunday. At least better than what we had been seeing, and better execution. Obviously, that's a big part of it as well.
That was a huge part of it.
Yeah,
is the offense just played better. Flat out did. And we saw some use of the fullback this week. Imagine that shit. Oh my God.
Well, even Mrs. Derek Watt was excited. She was tweeting about it.
Yeah, no, it was great that he got in there, was making a contribution, just knocking people down. But so
it was there was a couple of times where you could see him kind of coming around the formation and making a real nice seal block and allowing Najee to get extra yards. And I my gut feeling is they don't want to use him a lot, but I think the fact that they were willing to use him and it was successful tells me we're going to continue to see him a little bit. And that's
fucking good. Hope so, right?
Yeah, right. If it ain't broke, man. Hey, the SCB Steelers Podcast is presented by Deck Roofing of South Florida. Deck serves Broward and the Southern Palm Beach counties, whether it's commercial, industrial, residential, or condos. Contact Deck Roofing today by visiting deckroofing.com. Defensively, Devin Bush, he has practiced this week.
Full practices both days.
Yep, both days. Should be a go, barring any setbacks tomorrow, which is good.
It's just a groin injury. Those things don't happen here.
Well, they're so rare in Pittsburgh.
They are this season.
Jeez, oh man, it's bizarre. Cam Sutton looks like he'll be back, which gives them that flexibility with Sutton to either play on the boundary or in the slot. What'd you think of Arthur Millette on Sunday?
I like him better in coverage than I do as a run defender. That's what I've always thought of Millette.
Yeah, I do as well. I thought he was a lot more active, though. He seemed to me to be a guy that played with more confidence, running around a little bit.
He was around the ball a lot. I'll give him that.
Yeah,
I will give him that. I don't think he's a terribly physical player. He's not terrible. He's not awful.
Right.
Maybe that was the wrong way to put it. I just, I don't think he's super physical, and that's one of the things that worries me a little bit about it.
Yeah, and you need that kind of thing out of that slot.
That guy, especially in the early downs, has got to be a good tackler. That was why William Gay was so good at it.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good analogy right there, because he was. And William Gay was a guy that struggled a little bit early in his career. Eventually made his way to Arizona, coverage. Came back, and made himself into a pretty damn good cornerback. What's the impact of the JuJu injury here? I think sometimes fans get so caught up with statistics. They look at targets, they look at catches, yards, touchdowns. He does a hell of a lot more than that. How do you make up for his absence? Who's got to step in? Who's going to play in that slot more often? How are they going to proceed here?
I think they'll probably end up putting Claypool in the slot, to be honest with you, because they're going to be looking for mismatches. And it's just, that's not James Washington's spot. He's not an inside guy. You would think he could be. He's built like a running back, but it's just not his spot, at least not now. So we'll see what happens. But do want to emphasize, since we talked about it this summer, this is why you don't trade a James Washington.
Absolutely.
You still have 3 good wide receivers in that core. And we're still in pretty good shape, even after losing a guy like JuJu, who honestly is probably more of a number 2 than a number 1.
Yeah.
But still, you lose that guy and you lose a facet of your offense because he did all the dirty work. He would get in there and block, and he was good at it. He was a great possession receiver on third downs. And there's a lot of value in that. Sure hands. I need 6 yards. I can get 7 with JuJu. That kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll be missed, as well. People keep talking about his leadership ability. I think a lot of that's underrated, and I'm sure he'll be around because he loves the game.
Yeah, he was there today already.
Yeah.
At the facility, just kind of walking around, cruising around, talking to Ben and some of the other guys. He strikes me as a guy that likes being around, whether he's playing, whether he's hurt. He just wants to be around the team. And we've seen plenty of guys before they get hurt. The last thing they want to do is be around the team. So I think it's going to be kind of curious to see where he's at in that regard. The kicking game on Sunday, real quick, I did want to mention Boswell is doing a damn fine job. He had that one miss earlier this year. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was the Cincinnati game. But man, the guy has been money. He nailed the one that Mike Tomlin, in my opinion, appropriately took the points off the board, and they did.
I was really nervous about that. I didn't like it. And then, honestly, it worked out fine.
It did. It was risky at the end. They scored on third down, that nice throw to Claypool. But I didn't mind it because it was automatic first down. I mean, if it would have put us like in 4th and 2 or something, I'm like, no, take the points. But the fact that he banged that one in the fourth quarter. I definitely should not print anymore during the video here. I'll use my resources more often. But he did great. And I thought Presley Harvin had a nice day punting. I thought it was his first day where he was a little more consistent. And man, I'm telling you what,
I think he's been pretty good aside from a couple of punts. And he's had a couple of punts, and people unfortunately have still got Jordan Berry flashbacks. So,
well, yeah,
there's going to be some criticism because of that. But I think this kid's played pretty well this year. I really do.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking him at all. And I'll say this too: if you go to a game, get in early to watch him kick in the pregame. It sounds like somebody is being shot when this guy kicks a ball. I mean, the smack that comes off of his foot when he punts the ball, and it just takes off like a rocket ship. You get big, beautiful spirals. And obviously warm-ups is a far different animal than the game. And a lot more noise during the game and stuff. But man, it's just really, really cool to watch him in warm-ups. But
it's difficult because I'm usually chugging beers in the parking lot to the last second.
And that's totally understandable. Sunday I was already chugging beers in the stands. So 6 to 1, half dozen the other there. But it's fun. I think Ray McLeod, it's fun to watch when you can't see the all 22. When you're at a game and you can kind of see the different gaps and the different holes in a kick return open up and stuff. He's going to pop one. One of these days he's going to get one because there are some alleys there and he sees it. He gets there and just he gets shoestrung tackled or somebody just grabs an arm at the last second. I just really feel like he's close. And those special teams plays are obviously really, really huge. So it'd be good going forward.
We beat Buffalo with a special teams play.
Absolutely. Remember? Yeah. And I guess arguably they're the hottest team in the NFL right now. I mean, other than the Cardinals, who are 5-0.
The Bills are the best team in the AFC.
Right now. I think so. I mean, they just
and don't get me wrong, that could change in the next month and probably will. Mm-hmm. As we talk about every year, the complexion of the NFL changes every 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's a marathon. It is not a sprint. But right now, today, the Buffalo Bills are the best team in the conference. And the Steelers beat them week 1. So
no, I don't disagree with you. They're playing well. I mean, to go on the road into Kansas City and come away with that kind of win is pretty damn impressive in my book. And so I would say that's where they're at. Also, going back to Sunday a little bit, we would obviously be very remiss if we didn't mention the performance of Najee Harris. Gets his first 100-yard game in week 5, which ironically was the same period of time that Jerome Bettis when he got his first 100-yard game, and Franco Harris when he got his first 100-yard game in week 5. I don't think, and Ben, you'll comment obviously, I don't think this kid's even scratched the surface, I think, of what he's capable of doing yet.
No.
Yeah.
And we saw it a couple of times on Sunday when he got to the second level unscathed and made the first guy miss, and the things he could do then.
Yeah.
And that's what makes him special. I mean, he can do the short yardage stuff, which you need to be able to do. He can make the first guy miss when he should be losing 2 yards and gain 3. And that's huge. It's huge. I mean, that's not something Benny Snell can do. Sorry, Benny Snell people. Benny is not. It's about over. Yeah. They're going to have to draft another running back next year, to be perfectly honest, because they need a viable backup. And
you're right.
Stop trying to make Kalen Ballage happen. It isn't going to happen. The knock on him his entire career has been, he looks really good in the preseason, and everybody's got confidence in him, and then the regular season rolls around, and he can't do shit. And
I bought in.
Yep.
I thought he could do something, and I was wrong. I thought he'd be a little bit better, but
I think the guy has talent. He just can't put it together for whatever reason. And a lot of guys at this level, this happens. You get what Ian refers to as 4A players, guys who look really, really good versus backups, like they should be starters. And then they play against starters, and they're, nothing special at all.
No,
so
I agree.
And that's where Ballage falls for me. So basically, God forbid something happens to Najee this year, because we don't have a viable running back.
Although
McFarland hasn't played this year, so
right,
maybe.
I think
I should put that out there.
To me, he impressed a little bit more in the preseason this year, and again, he was a guy that didn't really have a preseason last year, so I have to make that comment. But what I saw of him last year, he just reminded me of a guy that, he kind of goes down on first contact. And this year in the preseason, he seemed like he was a little bit more of an aggressive runner. And I'm hopeful that will translate when he does eventually get his way back in there and off of IR. Defensively, I want to go back to that. TJ Watt, I thought he looked healthier Sunday than he did the week before in Green Bay. But he looked frustrated to me at times. He looked like he was just not quite getting to Teddy Bridgewater, and you could see some frustrations there. And really,
competitive though. And
it is. I mean,
you can relate to that. I can relate to that.
God, yes.
You're just, you're just right there, and you just can't quite close that little tiny gap, and you start to get pissed.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that's all it was. And I mean, he still had a hell of a game. He really did. And they were combo blocking him and chipping him on just about every snap.
Yep.
And he still made some big plays anyway. So
he did. And and I was no means going in a direction that was knocking him.
Just saying.
Yeah. What are you seeing from Alex Highsmith? You seeing enough from him right now?
Oh, hell he can
do more. Yeah.
No, he's not at the top of his game yet. He hasn't hit his ceiling yet. He's still got more up there, and I think he's going to continue to get better. But he's getting off the ball so fast this year.
Yes.
And it's scary for the offense to have to face that when they're trying so hard to shift resources to the other side to block Watt.
Mm-hmm.
and they're leaving this guy over here one-on-one. And Highsmith's he's going to win more of those matchups. And when he does, he's going to blow up plays, and they're going to have to go, okay, now what are we going to do? On top of that, you've got Ingram coming in and running over guards.
Man, is he fun to watch?
He is.
He really is.
And granted, I mean, the guy, you might want to call him one-trick pony now, and it's all bull rush. Whatever.
I'm fine with that.
Good luck trying to stop a truck coming at you at full speed. I'm serious. It's just like I don't know what I would do. If I were a guard, I'd just be like, okay, well, I'm going to catch this guy, and I'm gonna hang on for as long as I can, and hope the ball's gone. Because I don't know what else you can do. There's really no other strategy there. I mean, and if he gets a hold of one of your arms and bats it down, forget it. It's over. He's going to go right past you.
Speaking of batting it down, has anybody perfected the art of knocking down passes more than Cam Hayward? I mean, he's so good at it.
He is.
I think he had 2.5 maybe this week. He's playing really, really good football at the age of 32, 33 now. No Stephon Tuitt, no Tyson Alalu. I do think Chris Wormley has been a nice surprise. I'm not going to say that he's playing great by any stretch, but he's been doing better than I thought.
Yeah, he's playing all right.
Yeah, and I think Isaiah Buggs has had some decent snaps.
Buggs is playing a lot better, especially just as a two-gap nose tackle, which is kind of how he's being used right now. But he's playing okay. He really is. And he's also chasing the ball down the line, which you need to be able to do. And a lot of nose tackles just can't do it. They just, they're pluggers, but they're going to play these two gaps, and that's it. And if something happens and they need to get out of the way, they can't, which presents another problem altogether because you end up blocking your own teammates.
Yeah. No, that's true. And especially against a team like Denver, who was in last year had some success against us with really stringing us out to the sideline.
Right.
You get in the way of that and you create gaps and holes. So no, I agree with you. He's done very well. I want to make sure that I mention our great corporate sponsor with the Pigskin Podcast Network, which of course is DraftKings Sportsbook. Here's the offer this week, and they have something different every week. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TPPN. Throw down $1 on any NFL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a point. That's promo code TPPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. You must be 21 or older. New Jersey, Indiana, Pennsylvania only. New customers only. $5 minimum deposit and $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. So, yeah, definitely check out our friends at DraftKings. Seattle's coming in this week, Ben. No Russell Wilson.
That helps.
That helps tremendously.
Not going to lie, it helps.
It does. That said, I would not just automatically pencil in a W because
hell no.
This is the NFL. Geno Smith played decent in spelling him last week. But bigger than that, the Seahawks defense has been bad. And is this an opportunity for the Steelers to again get that offensive line gelling, get the run game going, and get Ben some time back there?
Well, the Seahawks defensive line isn't that bad. Their linebackers aren't special,
right?
And their defensive line isn't as good as Denver's. Denver's is better. I'll be frank. And the Seahawks DBs, nothing to write home about.
No.
Even Jamal Adams, who in my mind is just a linebacker playing strong safety. He makes some plays sometimes.
Yeah.
Because he's a big hitter and he's a smart player, but he's not a real rangy cover player. He's not a guy you need to worry about downfield. He's not going to chase down a Chase Claypool from behind and make the tackle that saves a touchdown. That's just that's not who he is. He's a guy who's going to make plays within that first 10-yard area.
Right.
And he'll make them. But yeah, he's an extra linebacker who's playing safety. So not super impressive group. Haven't been playing well, but it's early in the season. Things could change. You know how that goes.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not penciling a W either. There is an opportunity here for the Steelers if they can continue with the intensity they had on Sunday and focus on execution. Just take it one play at a time and focus on execution. Just, okay, we got to get this done. Let's just take care of this play, and then we'll worry about the next play after that. And maybe we can get some momentum. And if we do, hey, things could work. I don't know what to expect, honestly. I'm still, I wouldn't say, nervous is the right word. It is.
Yeah.
I'm still nervous about what's going to happen with these guys.
Oh, for sure. Every week, if I wasn't nervous, I would seriously question my own sanity. I did want to ask you about something off the field. Renegade. You've been in that stadium many, many times when Renegade's been playing, and there's a lot of talk, social media. It's time to get rid of Renegade. It doesn't work anymore. I'll tell you what. When they played it at the 2-minute warning on Sunday, and this was not even a packed house at Heinz Field, it was just under 60,000 people. That crowd was bonkers. The Denver sideline was watching the video board when Renegade was going on. Players in the Denver huddle were taking peeks at the video board. I still think it's an event. I still think it's an awesome thing. I until you can show me something that's going to replace it, that's the equivalent to it or better, I keep rolling with that sucker. And
honestly, that's never going to go away. That's something that belongs. So. It belongs to the fans. It's not even something that belongs to the Steelers. It's something that the Steelers do for the fans.
Yep.
And that's not going anywhere. And I agree with you. The intensity in the stadium goes way up when they play Renegade. And I hate sticks. Do you guys know that? I fucking
You've mentioned sticks. That. You're not a fan of sticks.
Sticks sucks. They're fucking terrible. And when they play that song, holy shit, what an effect it has. It's amazing.
It is.
It's amazing. So, I won't be listening to Renegade just for the fun of it while I'm at home. But if I'm in the stadium and they play it, I love it. That's different.
It's so fun to anticipate it because you know it's coming at some point in the second half, and it varies depending on the situations. But you hear people start mentioning it. You can hear people several rows down in a section behind, a section in front. And when's Renegade coming? So Renegade. And then when it comes, and it just goes off the wall. And I really believe until
they played it late. They played it late
right at the 2-minute warning, and we were wondering,
And honestly, the team kind of needed a little kick right then anyway, because they were facing a Denver team that was trying to push and come back. I was just surprised they played it that late.
And we gave up a fairly decent yardage play on the first play out of it. And I think what happens sometimes is fans automatically just think one of two things is going to happen after Renegade. One, it's going to be a sack, or two, you're going to get a turnover. And that's just not reality. I mean, because those plays don't happen that often anyway. But I think they've just gotten accustomed to it. And which I get. I definitely understand it to a certain extent. But I don't think it's going anywhere. I don't think it should go anywhere. And I certainly hope that it does not. Any final thoughts before we wrap things up here, Ben?
Just that I really fucking hate Seahawks fans, and because I live in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
And I've been dealing with Seahawks fans crying about a Super Bowl since 2005 that they have no business bitching over. Okay.
No.
And we'll just go ahead and recap this.
Yeah, please do. Okay. I always
real quickly. First, Willie Parker to the house, 75 yards after Michael Bulwer whiffed. Okay.
Right. Whiff.
7 points. Josh Brown I guess maybe he was still upset about the fact that he was being investigated for beating his wife, and he missed 2 kicks. That's another 6 points.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, tasteless, but fuck that guy. And lastly, the Seahawks, for some reason, forgot what everyone in the fucking stadium knew, and everybody who was watching at home. The Steelers that year like to run trick plays on 2nd and short from beyond midfield.
Yep.
Antoine Randall to Hines Ward for 6 more points, 7 more. Okay, that's a 20-point swing. Those 4 plays.
Yep.
That's why the Seahawks lost. Had nothing to do with the refs. Quit your goddamn bitching.
And I the only thing I would also add to that, what the hell was Mike Holmgren doing at the end of the first half? The clock management was brutal.
Fuck that guy. He was
I mean,
crying about the fact that they weren't selling Seahawks green towels. Like somebody would have bought it. There were no fucking Seahawks fans there.
Exactly. As the late Dan Rooney said, it was the biggest Steelers Super Bowl crowd he had ever seen. And we weren't losing that day. There's no way in hell we were.
Fucking crybaby.
What do you got for a prediction this week?
Steelers 23, Seahawks 17. But I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
if Russell Wilson were playing, I would be probably picking the game the other way.
There's no question in my mind. I would be too. And I'm going to be very close to you. I was going to go 24-17. I think it's going to be right in that 6, 7, 8 point range. So I expect it to be good. I expect us to, again, have heart palpitations as Steelers fans, but that's what we do. And so we're going to wrap things up here. And thanks to Ian and Maggie. I hope they're both sound asleep. And thanks to DraftKings, and thanks, of course, to Deck Roofing Incorporated out of South Florida, our great podcast sponsor. And that's it for us this week. And hey, go Steelers. Ben, did you want to add something?
Ravens suck.
Oh, there we go. Thank you.